The following episode may contain sensitive content. Listener discretion is advised. Hello.
Hi, everyone. How
Hello.
are you doing, Tracey?
Good. Welcome to the show must go on. I'm Tracey.
Welcome. And I am Nikki. And my new nickname, as Tracey called it last week, was Honey Tits.
Ew.
And she's going to be Sugar Bottom from now on.
Yes.
We are just going from there and moving on.
Yeah, it's interchangeable.
How's everything going in the Sugar Bottom world?
Sugary.
It's very sugary. Okay, that's good to know.
It's fine.
Question.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say
Tell
real quick. So I finished Hacks. I'm all caught up.
Such a good show.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Oh, it's so good. I can't wait for season 4.
This is Recommendations Corner.
Yeah.
If you need a good show and you want to laugh hard, laugh where your tummy hurts, we do recommend Hacks. It's such a good show.
All the feelings too, because I get teary-eyed, I get angry, I get happy, I get all the feels.
Yes.
It's a good show.
Just very well written and very well performed. It's magical. And I cannot wait. I think the new season comes out this year. So it's very exciting.
Okay.
And just really, really good actors. I wanted to talk to you real quick about, I think it was the BAFTA Awards that just happened recently.
Yes.
BAFTA, and then this Sunday, this comes out next week, so it would be the Sunday before you guys listen to this, is
SAG
the SAG Awards. Yes. So the SAG Awards, if you don't know, and this is your first time listening to the show, the SAG Awards is the ones that your peers vote for you. So only people that are in the SAG union, for the actors union, are the ones that basically vote for your work. And I feel like that's the most meaningful one because, I don't know, it's just people that do the same as you and they tell you if you did a good job or not. Although being nominated is already a huge deal, but it's just nice to get recognized in that way.
Right, because it's your peers. They're saying that your work is amazing.
Yeah.
So, if I want a SAG award,
nobody else knows better,
of course,
than someone that does exactly the same thing that you do.
Absolutely. And that's on Netflix, right? It's going to be on Netflix.
It is on Netflix, and it's going to be hosted by Kristen Bell. Mm-hmm. And it's very exciting. So everyone, if you're listening to this, you already watched it. And if you didn't, go on Netflix because it's probably there.
Yeah.
A nice little segue.
I love it.
And there was one more thing that I wanted. Have you been watching Severance?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Now I'm on a TikTok hole.
I'm trying
of
not to. Yeah, I'm trying not to because I saw one and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I can't go down that rabbit hole.
God. I am in the rabbit hole. I'm living there. And I used to be a TikTok hater. I'm talking about 4 years ago. Hated it. And now I'm changing TikTok all the time.
It's changed so much because I didn't, me, I refused to join for years. I was like, ew, TikTok. Because I thought it was the dancing and that was it.
No, we get more than that.
Right, but it's actually very educational, and it's very like the algorithm. So it's like the videos that you watch, they give you more of that.
They show you what you want to see.
Exactly.
Which is so fucked up. If you have not read the book The Circle, you should. This is exactly where we're living at. And that book was written like 15, 20 years ago.
Actually, yeah.
It's kind of scary because when I read it, I was like, oh, it's not going to happen. And we're there. Okay.
Big time.
So the other thing that I was going to say is that I just got my tickets to go see Backstreet Boys in Vegas.
I saw.
Yeah.
In Vegas?
So let me tell you
so
before
jealous.
I really dive in, they are doing the Millennium Tour. I mean, the Millennium Concert. So it's such a great marketing strategy. They were like, hey, all you middle-aged women, we're ready for you. We heard you. Literally, that's what it says. We heard you. We're bringing it for you. So my friends from like when I was little, right away when they posted, they like text them and they're like, are we fucking going? And I'm going with all my friends from back home.
I love
and
that.
It's so exciting. It's in July. It's in the Sphere in Vegas. And I cannot freaking wait. I'm so pumped. Wow. I'm so pumped. It's just going to be like, take me back to when I was like 12 and 13, you know, and let's relive those moments. And that was like this generation's One Direction.
Yeah.
You know?
I can definitely say that. I mean, I like the Backstreet Boys, but I can imagine, you know, like, and the Sphere is so good. I think my brother and my dad went, and they were like, this is amazing. They didn't even go for a concert, and they were like, this is amazing. So I can't even imagine.
I'm scared that I might need like a Dramamine or something, you know, because apparently it's like you're there like fucking going nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, now that I have someone, you hear a strange voice, you're like, who's that? Who's talking? Who is that? Well, you know, today we're covering a story based in New York. And both Tracey and I lived in New York, but we wanted somebody that also lives there and who's also a friend. So that voice that you heard is Eileen, our friend. And I'm just going to... Whoa, did you see something?
Is it raining?
Scary. Oh. Eileen, what did you do?
That is so scary. Everything kind of like shut down real quick. Do you guys... Was the light in the back on or no? I have no idea.
I can't remember.
It might have been. I'm scared.
I'm scared too. Okay, well the Wi-Fi's still on, so we're good.
Woo.
Okay, that was just a little scary corner. Okay, so we have Eileen here, and Eileen was born in New York, but she was raised in Miami, and that's actually how we met. Mm-hmm. She returned to her hometown 2 years ago, and her educational journey took her through various schools in Miami before earning a degree in criminology at the Barry University in 2021. Hey-o! Okay, Lean has a deep passion for creativity, from painting and sketching to photography and fashion. Art has been a part of her life since elementary school, and she looks forward to creative pursuits as an adult. Beyond her artistic interests, Eileen shares her life with her beloved cat, Sippy, who holds a special place in her heart. I love when you guys bring, like, when we talk about, like, the pets, you know, they're just really, really important in our lives. And I don't have a pet, but I'm dying for one.
You need one.
Me too.
I need one bad. But welcome.
Yay, Leanie.
Yay.
Hey guys.
I'm
happy
so
to have
glad
you.
you're here.
Yes.
I'm so glad you said yes. And I'm so glad you are covering this with us because you actually do live in New York right now. And tell us how's life for you right now. Give us the tea. It can be like a 1 minute tea. Doesn't have to be very long.
Yeah, so I'm unemployed. That's the first. Yeah.
She's living the New York experience.
I'm jealous.
Like if you haven't been unemployed at least once in New York,
what do you do?
I don't know, like, are you really living?
Yeah.
No. Like, do you get to go to your favorite places in the middle of the day without standing in the lines?
That's right. That's right. I love that.
Yeah, so that's been kind of, you know, as fun as it, like, may sound, it's also, like, very scary, depressing. So, you know, like, working through that, and at 26, turning 27 this year, thinking my life is not just this, you know? I think that's the hardest part about, like, being in your 20s, like, unemployed. And I want to, like, you know, like, emphasize, like, what I have to tell myself also, like, this thing is not forever and it's not the end. Because, you know, nowadays, hashtag Gen Z people, like, always want to be millionaires at, like, 21. And, you know, TikTok, as you said, and social media, like, it's so hard. So I'm sitting here thinking, like...
comparing yourself?
Yeah. So...
yeah.
Trying to just be positive, you know, be, like, grateful.
Yeah. So let me tell you something real quick. You're only 26.
Yeah.
Life literally has just started. This is a learning curve too. And one more thing, everything in life is temporary. Every single thing in life is temporary. Even living is temporary. We don't get to live forever. So just tell yourself that. And I know you're not, like, not applying for jobs. You keep applying, but keep living. Because let me tell you, you don't know when you're going to have this amount of free time again.
Exactly.
So, you know, as you keep applying, you keep enjoying. You're like, just enjoy that little freedom, you know. I know times are tough when it comes financially, but whatever you can do that doesn't cost much or that doesn't cost at all, go for it, do it, because you don't know when you're going to have the opportunity. And you're in, I know it's cold as fuck there right now, but you're in one of the best cities to do that. And the city, I have such a love-hate relationship with it because it made me so fucking strong. I love it so much. It makes you so strong. But I'm grateful I did that and that I'm not there anymore. Exactly. And, you know, you don't know that if New York is going to be forever either. So just juice it. Make sure you second act a show. I don't know if you've ever done that, but you should.
What is that?
So second act is you wait until
intermission.
The intermission. I was about to say halftime.
I've
been living with my boyfriend. Oh, God. So you wait until intermission, and on intermission, when everyone is going in, you go in. You don't have to show a ticket or anything. You can just stand in the back, and then once everyone is seated, you see what's empty, you sit there.
Really? Like, I can
Make sure you second act. Yeah.
I can just,
they don't
like,
check
go
tickets.
in the venue.
Yes.
And just sit.
And it's usually
Blend
like an
in.
hour and 15 minutes in after the show.
This is a hack because, you know, Broadway tickets, like, just shows in
Very
general
expensive.
are so expensive. And I have, like, a friend who tells me, like, these hacks for, like, the subway, the bus, like, doing these things. So now I'm like, okay, another hack. And I feel like that's, as you're saying, like, the magic of New York is, like, literally living in a movie. Like, you can do these things where you can just hack everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So make sure you second act a show that you really want to see. You're like, you hang around there in intermission. A lot of people come out. They come out of the show. A lot of people leave too. If they don't like the show, they're gonna leave. So they come out, people are smoking, talking, da-da-da-da-da. And then when it's time to go back in, you go in with the crew, with everyone. And then you just stay in the back and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit in a little bit. I want to stretch my legs. Then once everyone is seated, you're like, this is my time. That seat is empty. I'm going in. Wow. So do it.
I'm gonna do it. Considering I've only been to one Broadway show.
That's embarrassing as well.
I know.
But
I mean,
you've been there for 2 years. And make sure you at least second act as much as you can then. Because I know it's pricey. I know it is.
Yeah. And Guess which one I went to?
Which one?
The Disney Princess Britney Spears one.
Oh, 6?
I think something like that. But you know, my friend, she came on vacation and she was like, oh, me and my friends want to go to the Broadway show. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I want to go to Broadway. She's like, oh, we're going to see the Disney Princess, but with the Britney Spears, like, music. And I was like, you know, I'm not Disney person. You guys are. But I'm more like Halloween Horror Nights, you know? So...
Hey, I'm both.
Yeah.
So,
so when she said that, I was like, I'll think I'll pass. And she was, like, begging me. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. Best show. And I can't even imagine, like, the popular shows. I'm, like, moved by that. I cried 2 times.
I'm like, what's to see, like, an actual, like the big, listen, nothing on Broadway is bad. It's very, very rare for you to find a Broadway show that you're like, this was really bad.
I mean,
that
it's so
they
expensive.
Really don't exist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the productions are expensive. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work. The actors are usually the best actors in the industry, so
they don't fuck around.
Anything that you watch is gonna be good, but the biggest productions like Wicked, anything that's Disney, like Lion King, Aladdin, those are like huge shows. And then the ones that have been there for a long time, like Chicago, but it's art. It's very, very good. So
did you see that Charlie D'Amelio is Juliet on Romeo and Juliet on Broadway?
I don't know who that is.
She's like the most famous like TikToker dancer, and she okay. And if you see her, you'll know who she is. But she moved to New York and was like, "Oh, I'm Juliet on Broadway," and I was like, "Okay, TikTok takes you places."
Okay, I love that. You know, opportunities they're presenting, and they have a name. So sometimes they bring big people just to get more tickets selling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, now that you all know how to second act a show,
life
and
hacks
we're already in
Nikki.
New York, literally, we're gonna do a quick little segue to the movie and the film that we're reviewing today. Okay, so I'll just talk about it just real quick, what it is about, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen it because it actually came out a while ago. It's just available to stream now. So we are discussing The Apprentice. This came out in 2024 and it's a biographical drama directed by Ali Abbasi, exploring Donald Trump's early career in New York City's real estate market during the 1970s and 1980s. The film delves into Trump's complex relationship with attorney Roy Cohn, highlighting how Cohn's mentorship influenced Trump's business practices and public persona. Sebastian Stan portrays Donald Trump, while Jeremy Strong takes on the role of Roy Cohn. The cast also includes Maria Bakalova as Ivana Trump and Martin Donovan as Fred Trump. Okay, so Lean, we just do like a little opinion, each one of us, and then we kind of dive into it after that. So let's hear just real quick what you thought about this film.
Okay, so I don't know how this is gonna go for the lovers, but if I didn't hate him before, I definitely hate him more now. Because
okay, well, just if just letting you know, if we have people listening right now, they're not lovers.
Yeah, so true.
Not on this podcast.
Yeah, we're pretty liberal, so
yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so tell
MAGA
us.
lovers are listening to us.
They're not. They're definitely not.
Imagine they do just for this one. I'd be like.
Yeah. I know, right?
So, okay. So, I think the movie was... You know, I didn't really know the backstory of everything before. I just knew he was a businessman. Now he's our president. But I think it gives a really accurate, like, representation. And you can see, like, I thought the acting, I want to go in details, but okay, so I think the acting was really good. I mean, like, the Roy character who he plays was, like, so good, even when he got, like, sick. So I was like, wow. And then Trump obviously was played good, as you need to. And I think it was, at first I thought it was a representation of, like, oh, where he came from, like, showing, I mean, it is, but as in a way that, like, oh, he wasn't really a bad guy, but now that he's in this power, he's changed, which exactly, like, what the movie is about. And for a second, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I feel bad, like, he has a strict family, like, trauma. But then, quickly, I was like, no. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just thought it was really good. Like, I now understand everything. Obviously not, like, insane details, but I was like, wow, this movie was so good.
Yay! Okay. Tracey, you want me to go or you want to go?
Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
So, this movie explained a lot, you know, of the person he is today. I want to just put it out there. He's still a piece of shit for me. Like, that hasn't changed. But it explains a lot on how he got there. I've always thought that, you know, he was an insecure man. I feel like insecure men tend to try to overwork to show their power, and, you know, I can do this and I can. A person that's not insecure doesn't have to tell you how many times they can do something. And I feel like his insecurity has always shown for me in the past. How many years have we gotten to known him? Like 8 years, you know, as a political person.
Feels like 100.
But this explained. Oh yeah, as a political person, like 8 years, but he's like 80. So just seeing him, just reassuring to me his insecurities, and, you know, and the fact that he basically learned from a criminal how to do everything. It was very eye-opening, because again, I also saw him like, oh, a businessman that has filed for bankruptcy many fucking times, you know, but I didn't know, you know, how his career in real estate really started. I do think his dad was a piece of shit, but I think when you have people like that around you, you have two ways to go. You either become more of a piece of shit, or you become a person with compassion and empathy for other people, and obviously that's not who he is. But I want to say that the film was so well done. I think Sebastian Stan just blew my mind, and I know he's also nominated for another role in a different movie, but he's also he's nominated for this role, but he was nominated for the Golden Globes with another role. And Jeremy Strong, just to see this different character from the show Succession that he was on, was also like mind-blowing. So Jeremy Strong, Eileen, is the guy that played Roy. Just, he was also a character in Succession, and just to see the dynamic as an actor to be like so completely different, it really blew my mind. I also love that they kind of like told us this story rather than being like biased, or like, don't show me the political side. Tell me why he is the way that he is.
And I think that's so important, and people forget that, you know, because
100%.
They just think like,
100%.
oh, businessman to president, and no, You have to see everything.
There's so much. Yeah. Okay, what about you, Trace?
Okay. I agree with pretty much everything both of you are saying. So I went into it being like, I don't want to fucking watch this movie because I can't stand Trump. I'm not a supporter, even before he was president. Like, I think he's a terrible human being, let's be honest. So I wasn't looking forward to it in that sense. But I think the way that it was done, and like you said, Nikki, it was, and you said this, Eileen, that it was very much factual. So it was like, you're going off of real events. These are things that happened. So they weren't being biased, in my opinion. They're just telling a story of how things were. And the acting for me, like, top notch. They definitely, I mean, I haven't seen some of the other performances that have been nominated, but like, I kind of hope that they win. Like, I think
you did see Conclave. You saw that.
I did.
You know?
I did. Yeah. And I mean, if I had to compare it, I think Sebastian Stan did so much. And it's hard playing someone who is a real person or just existed. So, the performances were so good. I love the way that it was shot. Like, it looked like it was
very 1970s.
Yeah, like, just the way that it was filmed and everything. And I love a period piece.
Yes.
I love, the 70s, 80s with the cars and the clothes. And seeing New York in that time period, too. Because it was a real shithole.
Bad in 70s
it was
and 80s.
Really, really bad. I mean, sorry, even to cut into the movie when Trump is talking to some guy about the building that he wants to turn into the hotel, and the guy comes up with, he's like, oh, my wife and her tight pussy, da, da, da. Like, basically just trying to sell sex, like, he's her pimp, and, like, trying to sell sex, and they're in the middle of a business talk, like, New York, like, baby. Random. Yeah. But I really liked it. Like, I didn't think I was going to like it that much, and I really, really did. I liked it a lot.
Let's go, like, now that you were saying, like, you were, like, comparing the actors. Let's talk about those performances. I do think, like, let's talk about Sebastian Stan playing Donald Trump real quick, because I want to say that even the mannerisms were on point, beautiful. But he would even do something with his mouth that the president does. So the whole time I was like, you know how long it took him to really study and learn this from him? Because it was so specific. And we see a lot of, in SNL, we see actors that come in and, do the impression of him. But this was different. It was like he spent months just like studying every single thing that this man would do. And listen, even the parts that were like at home and all this stuff that we don't see of him in real life, I don't doubt that he's like that.
Yeah.
I
was seeing that and I was like, of course he's like that. Like, you can just guess how he is behind closed doors.
Yeah. Like, that's how good the performance was of this guy, that you're like, I'm not fucking surprised, because, we're seeing him in his young years, and Sebastian Stan is portraying him so well that when we see those, like, intimate, personal moments, we're like, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's definitely how it would be,
And I feel like, he had to study him for so long. And you know how actors say, like, they become them to play them, So I feel like maybe he's looking back now and looking at times now, and he's like, wow, like, feeling, I don't know, do actors feel like kind of anxious or overwhelmed in those times, like, playing him, like, becoming him? and then like now seeing how he is?
It depends on the actors. Like most of them use like method acting, so they basically become them. But some of them are able to separate. Like they're able to leave it at work when they go home. Some of them are not. Some of them just stay in it for weeks or days until they're done filming. I read this interview, I think, about Jennifer Aniston when she did Cake, the movie, and she got like nominated and all this stuff. She said that she made herself be in a mental hole because the character is very depressed and has chronic pain, but she wanted to really feel that so she could portray it the right way. So she tried to not associate with anybody. Like she became the character for that amount of time. But I know I've seen Zendaya talk about, characters that she has portrayed herself, and she says that she's able to separate them, and that because of that she's able to watch her performances and not criticize them, because she said, no, that's the character's choice. The character made that decision at that moment.
Yeah, I know,
which is, I think it's beautiful to be able to do both things,
Yeah, it's truly an art.
Yeah, yes. But to separate them, I think is the hardest. To be able to, like, I'm there 12, 13, 14 hours a day, and I go home and I'm myself. That's very, very hard. As a person that went to school for acting is one of the most exhausting things you can do. Like, it takes everything. You become somebody else for hours in a day. So, yeah.
I know Evan Peters from American Horror Story. I know he's the biggest. Yeah, I love him too. But I know he had a real struggle with, American Horror Story, and Jeffrey Dahmer movie. Like, they say he's not doing good. I don't know now, but at the time they say he wasn't doing good. Because I guess he couldn't separate.
It's very hard. Yeah, it's very, very hard. I also think it takes a lot of therapy. Yeah. I think Ariana Grande talked a little bit about Galinda, because everyone was like, oh, her voice has changed and all this stuff. And it's like, no, she's been playing a character for 2 fucking years. So her voice will come back to normal in months. Like, just calm down, everyone. She just needs the character to start leaving her body little by little. But she was somebody else for 2 years in this project. What do you think about the performances, T-Bone?
I mean, amazing. And like you said, even with his mouth, Sebastian Stan, which, okay, first of all, I love him.
Oh, he's amazing.
I am in love with him, so.
Oh my God, were you traumatized watching this then?
I know, but also I'm in awe of him, because it's a character study, and so at the beginning with the mouth, it wasn't too pronounced. But obviously...
No, but it was so specific.
It was so specific, but as time goes on, it becomes what we know now. Yes, and basically just this caricature that Trump has become. Yeah, fired. So it was just watching that, like, evolution of this person. And
the ego increasing.
The monster that Roy created. It was like he took him as his protege under his wing, and I'm going to teach this guy everything I know. And it fucking backfired big time.
Backfire, but also, like, you think about it, and is backfiring on himself. This is a guy that, in my opinion, you might not agree with me, but this is a guy that ran for presidency so he didn't have to go to jail. If anybody thinks that he wanted to, like, run for president because he wants to fix America, no. This guy was about to go to jail for many, many things. And the only way you can get away with it is by becoming the president. So it's, imagine having to do that, not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Pretending for 4 years that, yeah, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to, and I'm like, no, you're just fucking running away from where you're supposed to go. So, yeah, it's still backfiring him, you know, himself. And
That's true.
The fact that you see him learning from a criminal and, you know, still absorbing the information and being like, yeah, this is right. Like telling himself this story that this is the right way. This is the right way. And people being like, you're not paying. You gotta pay. No, this next... I fucking hate people like that.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, like, okay, I read something years ago. Basically, I mean, Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. This guy doesn't know what it's like to grow up without money. Like, he is very privileged, even when he was younger. And I know we see him sort of like being a slumlord, going to these apartments, asking for rent. That's probably like the hardest thing he's ever done.
They own those buildings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like multiple buildings. So it was like his dad just was basically passing on the business to him and saying like, you're going to take over the Trump company. And I just feel like if he hadn't had met Roy and some of these other people, Trump would not be where he is today, because I don't think he's an intelligent man. He didn't seem like a go-getter. And was there something in there that said something about luck? I don't know. But it's like just being lucky and like meeting the right people at the right time.
At the right time. Yep.
Because
I agree. I agree with you. Also, that first scene, when he does meet Roy, he's longing enough, you know, he was already born in a family that had money. Like, he never really like, oh, I have no money, you know, to eat. Like, that was not his thing. But the longing of, I want more. This is not enough. I want to be in that private room. Who are these people?
Right.
You know, from the beginning, like, dude, the greed.
Because even that girl that he was with was like, why are you so interested in all these guys?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, he was like fanboying. Fangirling.
Fangirling. We also see that, party that Roy throws at his place. And I couldn't stop laughing because, you know, it explains a lot about his homophobia. He basically learned from Roy that you pretend to show the world that you're homophobic even though you're gay. You know, he kind of like show him like, hey, this is the right way to do it, although I'm living a completely opposite life of what I'm saying.
Deny.
Denied. And oh God, it's just
sad.
It's so sad. And it's also like, oh, like I already didn't believe him by like any of the words that come out of his mouth, but just like seeing why he's such a liar and he's such a like pretentious person, and you know, saying all these things to get people to, you know, follow his word and, you know, to convince. And because like if you think about it, and this is my opinion, he's never been a successful businessman
or person, like,
or no, I mean person is, he's a piece of shit. But like a businessman, you know, like if you think about it, he's ran on that. He's ran for 25 years saying that he is. Like if you have had to file for bankruptcy so many times, are you that successful? and then to tell people that you're gonna fix their income, and that they're gonna, you know, get more money if you become president, and that things are gonna be cheaper. Running in this lie of, actually, I'm telling you this, but I don't know how to do that. You know, it's just, it's really like eye-opening even more than what I thought before about him. But you guys talk. I've been talking way too much. I have so much to say.
There is a lot to say.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I literally have too much to say. Like, I knew the movie was gonna be, like, overwhelmingly annoying, that I wrote, like, so many notes.
And, I love that. I want to hear it.
So, from the beginning, you know, at the dinner table, this is when I was like, he has, like, family trauma. He has to, like, prove to his dad that he's, like, this guy. Because, I don't know if you saw, like, how harsh they were treating Freddie, which we'll talk about later. But I was like, this is why he has to be this way, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he has to make something of himself. And I was like, interesting. This is, because, you know, I'm so on the mental health, psychological side of things, that I was like looking at it that way. But then obviously after that scene, I never felt that way again.
Yeah.
And so I was saying, like, that part where he's in the club, like the private club. First of all, I want to say that private club is so beautiful. Like, I want to go there.
Right?
It's like a gentleman's club or something, so you have to, like, pay to be a member.
Like.
I wish I
like
was
the
there.
elite. Yeah. I mean,
so did you see how in the beginning when he summoned Trump and he was talking to him, and then they put the scene really fast to where Roy put his hand on Trump's thigh. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was like,
I think also they tried to, which I kind of like, that they didn't tell us if it happened or not. They're like, we will just let you, you know, come to your conclusion of whatever happened there.
And
you know,
of Roy. Because at the beginning, it's not obvious, but he's saying these jokes. Usually when men do that, it's like a clear sign. And he's saying these jokes, that was shown. And then, like, after we slowly unravel that, oh, this is the reality of Roy. Which I also think Roy is... So as you guys were saying, Trump is exactly like Roy, 10 times worse. Like, everything I was seeing, like, the way Roy was talking, I was like, this is how Trump talks. Like, the elevation of the voice, like, the exaggeration.
The cadence.
I was like, I was like...
chaos, distraction, you know.
Yeah, so he's not subconsciously, but taught him everything, you know? And even with the political ideology, like, about, like, oh, the Democrats, the liberals, like, everything, when you hear him now speaking, it's exactly what Roy says.
Exactly.
Which also shows, not only is he a not successful businessman, but he doesn't even have his own personality. Like, everything is a copy, you know? So I was
There's no authenticity.
Yeah. And they both, like, bullshit everything. So, but I wondered, like, why did he pick him out of everyone, you know?
I think, like, when they were at that club, because you see them, you know, in, like, lock eyes a few times. So I think at the club he was like, this is a kid, first of all, easy to groom, easy to manipulate, and they already know who his dad is, because again, like, these are people that already had money. It wasn't like they were struggling or anything. So I guess he like tried. I do think he kind of like had a crush on him.
Yeah.
But
Roy had a crush on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I do think he just saw an easy way to groom somebody and make them who he wants them to be. And he's young, like, let's see if we can give him. And he also saw him as very naive.
Yeah.
It's like, this kid doesn't know shit about anything.
He's just a trust fund baby.
Pretty much. And
literally.
let me show you how to get more money from people and how to get away with it by blackmailing people. So
Taught him the ropes, everything.
yeah. Like all those, like when they were in court and they tried to like get these deals without paying taxes. That's not how you do things, and that's how he did things. And that's why I'm always like, how do people think this guy is successful?
When Roy showed Trump that room with all the cassettes, and he's like, this is everywhere in my house. Like, I record all the conversations. I was like, that's diabolical. That's when
super toxic.
Yeah.
Mean.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get there in the most ethical, moral way, but like, he was a successful person. I mean, he was a good lawyer.
He did owe like $7 million in taxes, but
Wait, Roy?
I think.
Yeah.
I think
did I miss that part?
I think these people, like, that's what I think about it, and I'm like, is this like how some people get successful? Like, they just bullshit everything and like stupid rich people believe them and they invest in them?
100%.
Like,
it's a lot of like, there's a lot of information in the top, people with money. There's a lot of ways you can do that. You can blackmail them.
Yeah.
A lot of ways, because there's a lot of secrets and, And if that didn't show you how he is able to manipulate everyone in like Congress and and in the court of law and all, it's such a representation of how he's been able to get things,
Exactly.
just not going, breaking the law, manipulating people, I think it showed so much right there, and I just kept thinking like, wow, this guy really is like garbage. I think there was nothing done like the right way.
Yeah. I think back to the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. Like, when you really think about it, like, I don't even know how he got famous, but apparently same thing, just told people things, came up, money, yeah. And then, photos of them hanging. So I'm thinking, like, did they relate? Sippy's being crazy. I'm like, did they relate? Like, that's a whole nother topic, but I just have 3 words for this movie: injustice, extremists, and crooks. That's all I have.
I love that. That's the best way to put it. It's just like, if you think about it, most of the people on the top are that way. And if they're not that way, there's a different type of greed that is in their head. This one is like power. You can like, it's not just money, it's like power. I want to be able to control people, and consolidate, so I can control more and more and more. But there's other types of narcissists out there, and the greed is like different. It's like, this one is power, this one is money, this one is control. It's very, very real what we saw to what we're seeing right now.
And it's scary. I felt
very
like
scary,
really weird. I was like, this is actually all happening now. Like, how am I watching this movie and I obviously see everything, and then I'm looking at our president? Like, so concerning. Like, so concerning.
And you know what you were talking about before, Tracy, about luck?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how lucky was he that Roy had all those recordings?
Yeah.
You know? Because what he was trying to do, his dad was like, we can't, like, that's not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do this. You're not going to get away with this. And he got very, very lucky that this guy had those. And I'm sure he doesn't use them for anybody.
Right.
You know? So
I feel like even if he didn't have it, he would say, I do, and I am not afraid to leak this information. I'll go to the New York Times. Like, that's just the type of person that he was. He was super cutthroat.
Yep.
And he did not play by the rules. And, you know, that scares most people. I mean, you threaten them.
Yeah.
They're back against the wall, like, you know, kowtow to you, of course.
Yeah.
Also, everything is so on emotion. You know, like, Roy was like that, like, oh, you're making me mad. Like, just saying a bunch of, like, vulgar things. And then you can see where he got that from. And now he's in this high position saying, like, oh, yeah, I don't like how they're doing this. So, like, tariffs and this and that.
Yeah.
Like, it comes from such a emotional, like, insecure place. Which I was
super
like,
insecure.
yeah.
Let's talk about the actress that played Ivanka. Ivana. Ivanka is the daughter. Her name was Maria Vakalova. I just want to say that she did an amazing job. And because I looked up pictures, because, you know, like, Ivana passed away a few years ago. But I looked at pictures and I was like, oh my God, this was very well casted physically. But she also kind of spoke like that. And I keep thinking, for a person that hates, like, foreigners and immigrants, I'm like, you just keep going for them.
And his parents.
It's hypocritical. Yeah, his mom.
Yeah.
His mom. Even his new wife, Elon Musk.
I was like, new wife?
Go back to South Africa. They don't want him there. That tells you something when your own country doesn't want you. Like, that's where he's from. Fuck. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, like, I just keep thinking, like, for a person that hates immigrants, he just keeps having them around him. I don't get it, you know.
Well,
I'm like,
it's
are they
because
gonna...
the rules don't apply to him. He can do what he wants.
Exactly. The rules only apply to other people, not to him.
Exactly.
But I think she did an amazing job, because I think a while ago I saw an interview from years ago that they had done to her, and she sounded a lot like her. So it means that she also went in and studied like crazy. And then let's talk real quick about Martin Donovan, which is the guy that played Fred Trump, which I didn't know much about this. I was shocked.
The firstborn. Oh, wait. Can I go back to Ivana?
Yeah.
So Ivana, yes, played so good. And I really felt bad for her. Honestly, seeing someone like you thought you loved turn into a monster like that, and everything that was shown, I felt sick to my stomach in that graphic part, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I think they took a lot of, like, from her books, because she did write a few books when she was alive.
It was, I mean, I thought she did a great representation of it. And I thought it was just, I don't know, so crazy. You see this man turn into a complete narcissist, even though he was trying so hard to get her. like so hard, and then all of a sudden he's like, I don't like you. Like
the way he was talking about her body, which is so accurate.
Yeah.
Because that's literally how he talks about women. You know, it was so triggering. I did not like that at all.
And did you see? I loved this part. She was like, "Oh, something like saying she doesn't know him anymore," type of thing, and she was like, "Oh, like you're this orange man." And I was like,
oh, yes. I was like, okay, queen.
I was like, originator.
Tell him.
Yeah. You look like Oompa Loompa.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I know. He had some nerve. It's like he's getting fat and losing his hair and telling her, oh, I don't want to touch you. You disgust me.
Oh, my God. And then he was like, I think it's her boobs. Like, do we like them?
And
like,
she was like, you made me get these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he went and cheated on her with, like, other women that looked like her. Like,
yeah.
I can't. And, you know, like, it's sad, but there's many men that are like this, unfortunately.
Wait, let's talk about the surgeries.
Oh. I didn't like...
I hate shit like that. When he's like,
no.
Sucking out all the fat. Oh!
I'm going to tell you right now, if that was in the movie, it's because it actually happened.
Yeah.
I believe
also,
it.
the hair stuff.
I know. They, like, took out some of his scalp and then stapled it together. And I was like...
Well, this might be why he's so fucking stupid. But, you know, I was thinking, like, you know, it's the 70s and the 80s when that was the solution. It wasn't like inserting or like waking up the cells of the hair. No, it was like, oh, we're just gonna open this and we're gonna cut and then we're gonna staple, like pulling the scalp back to get the hair. Mm-hmm. And then he had like liposuction done. I'm like, what are you, girly pop? Because you had a baby or something.
I love that the doctor was like, oh, you exercise. Oh no, absolutely not.
He's like, no, I would never.
Well, I mean, that's like part of it. And like, stop eating like a gluttonous.
Like a Cheeto.
Yeah. Gluttonous Cheeto.
And?
Yeah, because he didn't drink. He doesn't drink.
It was the pills,
it's all
too.
Food. Yes, but those pills were a thing in the 70s.
Speed?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like so many. It was that and Coke. You know, like everybody did it.
That's all they did. All they did back then.
Mm-hmm. I think.
But talking about go for it.
Sorry, back to the hair solution. I was watching it with my boyfriend, and he's Turkish. I'm half, and he was like laughing. He was like, "Oh, haha! They didn't know what to do before the Turkish hair transplants."
Yes, because the Turkish people like have the best treatments and the best procedure. They do it there. They say either there or here in Miami, but apparently like the Turkish one is the best one. The thing is like the flight is expensive.
Yeah.
But apparently it's just like they make your hair grow again.
I'm thinking why isn't he doing it now though? Because that just still looks so bad.
Well, because you know what happens if he has to do it now. You know they shaved his whole head. They have to like shave the head and then insert one by one.
And he can't have that.
No, we wouldn't be able to see him for 2 weeks, which we're all good with. But you know his position doesn't let him.
It's like the world would restore the peace if he just went and did a Turkish hair transplant.
Maybe.
It's true.
We'll see, like, oh, okay, you might be a little bit of, like, a normal human being, maybe. Wait, but I wanted to talk about Fred Trump and that relationship, which, I don't know if you, like, my heart broke for his brother. Mm-hmm. Completely.
Same.
And, you know, obviously when you're doing something like that, you're trying to numb yourself from something else. You're trying to not feel things. Like this guy was a pilot and then he got fired for alcoholism. But he was so... Donald Trump was such a piece of shit since the beginning that he had like no compassion or empathy.
It felt like he was doing like, it's like when you have a whole paragraph saying how shitty someone is, and then like the first sentence you write something nice. It was like that. Like he was like, yeah, you know, I care about you, I'll give you this, and then the next second it's like, I don't care, like you're a shitty like alcoholic, you know.
Yeah.
He kept trying to show that he, like he does now, he kept trying to show like he cares, but like at the end of the day, like he really doesn't. Like, get away from me.
Yeah, and we saw that when he showed up at his house. And obviously this is a cry for help. And you're just throwing money at him. And like, get in a hotel and the blah blah blah. And it's like, no, this guy needs love and compassion and help, professional help. And that was his way of, you know, fixing it.
When he threw the toy too for his nephew, I was like, doesn't matter what the gift is, like he's struggling and he got him something, like, you know.
My heart was so broken.
And then when he died, I was like, like it looked like he didn't even care that he died. The only one that cared, I feel like, was obviously the mother.
The mom. When he mentions him to the mom, and the mom is like, do not, like, do not say his name.
Oh, that scene also was horrible. Like, how do you, like, first of all, I think before that, he was his dad, who made everything, was saying like, oh, the Trump Tower, and then he's like, no, your Trump Village, like saying it's nothing. And I was like, sir, this is his. Okay, anyways. And then when his dad is obviously sick, he's just like using him, like saying these things, and I was just like, this man has no regard for his brother, his parents,
nothing.
Roy, no one. Like, wife,
let's
nothing.
talk about that little scene where he's like making him sign, making the dad sign, like, hey, like, leave me basically all your assets. I had no fucking words. It's like he even used his parents to do his bullshit deals that weren't good, you know. Very, very upsetting the whole time. I was like, I would erase him out of my life right there and then.
Thank God the mom was home, though. Imagine if she wasn't, he would have just signed it.
Yep, yeah, because he was kind of out of it.
And
already.
When he didn't get the signature, he got so upset and stormed off. Like, oh, I have to go to the city now. Like, sir, you are not going to get that signature.
And you know what? Maybe Tracey has like the fun facts, but I have no idea if he ever got that. If they were able to like sign that to him. I have no idea.
I don't have that, but
okay.
I feel like it doesn't matter who it was. It was just everyone is a pawn in his game so that he can continue to move forward, to build his empire, to gain success. So it's like even
everyone's back.
Yeah, and even his own family. It's like, okay. Need you anymore.
So clear as day, narcissism. Like,
100%.
That's like 100%. Textbook definition. It was, it made me really upset, honestly. Like, that, I don't like when people, like, you see on the news and stuff, people abusing, like, their parents' illness to give them things, money, and that's just so sick. Like, if you do that, you're the worst.
check yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's
you need
no
to go
place.
to a mental hospital.
Exactly. There's no good place for you.
Yeah, no compassion, no empathy for anybody, not even his own family.
Exactly.
You know? But this is the guy that half of America chose.
I think more than half, no?
More than half, yeah. Well, you know how like the voting here is. It's kind of weird. Do you have anything else to say, Tracey? You're very quiet.
I just want to say, I thought that it was interesting when we see in the beginning when Trump comes to Roy's place and he's like, oh, Russell, like, I need to talk to Roy. And then you see Roy, like, open the door and he's got his bathrobe on and he's like, hey, okay, like, we'll talk about this later. Like, we'll talk tomorrow. Like, he makes time for him. And then, like, later on when Trump is going to sit down with that journalist and they're going to write his book and the secretary is like, oh, Roy Cohn for you. Oh, tell him I'm busy. I'll call him back. Roy Cohn for you. I'm not here. Tell him I'm out of the office. Sick. Yeah. And then he finally had to like come outside of his building and be like, hey, you keep ignoring my calls.
You ungrateful motherfucker.
Yeah. It was just like, I don't know.
And it was funny when he's like, oh, yeah. It was funny. He was like, oh, you're the devil himself. And I was like, that's so funny because you basically taught him this, but then you created a worse monster. Like, for Roy to say that is like...
That's what I'm saying. You know it's bad when we as an audience are watching this and we're feeling bad for a fucking criminal.
Yeah, who got people executed and shit.
And who stole so much fucking money. We're feeling bad for Roy.
Yeah.
No,
I was that's how there. Bad is the monster that he created. That we're feeling bad for Roy.
Right.
I was literally sitting there, like, I literally put on my note, like, Roy's downfall. Stop, I feel bad. Like...
Stop feeling bad, period.
I know. It's hard, too, because, like, you know that he's in a time of need because his partner has AIDS, and then Roy is saying, oh, I have liver cancer, but really he has AIDS. And I mean, at the time, like, you're in the 80s and like people didn't really know what it was. And like even Trump, when he goes to his doctor and he's like, so this AIDS thing, like, how do you get it?
Oh my God.
Like, if I touch them, am I okay? Or, you know, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you can breathe the same air.
Exactly.
But then I guess we'll talk about it after, like, that last scene at his house with Roy in the wheelchair, like, just
you can talk about it now.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like, that whole AIDS thing Tracey was saying in the movie, like, where he was like, oh, can I get it with, like, you know, how easy is it to get? Did you see the part where after the whole dinner he made his butlers and everyone like clean everything because he still thinks he's gonna get AIDS just by sitting there?
Fucking the ignorance.
And that whole scene, I was like, that's when I was like, I was like, oh, Ivana is showing Roy how much of a monster he is. She feels bad for him, even though she hated him at the wedding. Yeah. And then the gift is fake. He still said nice things about him. I don't know why he did. And on Roy's like literal deathbed, I think he was like, oh, I need some advice. And he's like, oh, free advice. And then
still using him.
Exactly. And then I noticed when he got the liposuction, Trump, did he get it on his funeral? Like, what was that?
He probably got it all over his body. His body is so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's like ice cream
like
cone.
Now, and when they talked about his ass, and I was like, oh, that's right, he has a big ass.
Oh, yeah, when he was getting finished with his suit, and Roy was like, "You got kind of a big ass."
Yeah, he does.
No.
He really does. So I was like,
funny.
oh, I love that they brought that up.
Yeah. But he was doing it on his funeral, right? Like, they had the funeral scene of Roy's face, and then it quickly goes to, like, Trump in the fucking operating room getting liposuction. I was like, huh?
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't show up to his funeral.
Probably, because that was more important for him.
Right.
You know? Getting his liposuction and his new sculpt.
Mm-hmm. He always thought he was better than Roy.
God.
Which is, he learned everything from the man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, not even any sort of acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. You know, because even at the end, when the journalist is like, oh, you know, like, tell me how you got to where you are. And he's telling him there are 3 rules. 1, da-da-da, and he's going through all the things that Roy told him. And the reporter's like, oh, well, how did you come upon these rules? And not even then he can admit, like, I had a really good...
A mentor.
Yeah.
Say anything.
He says, oh, well, you know, I've always had the intuition. Like, I'm just, like, really good at this thing that I do.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
God forbid.
Yeah.
God forbid he gives anybody
else credit.
Kind of credit, yeah.
Like, I need everyone that voted for him, these, like, people, I don't know what to call them, I need
MAGA
them
lovers.
to look, yeah, but I think it's worse than that. But I need them.
Neo-Nazis?
Yeah. I need them to watch this movie and realize who this person is. Like, he can't even say, like, Roy even helped me with one thing. Like, that's what pisses me off. And did you see, during that time that what was the guy's name? Roger or something? In his office, he was like, oh, you could be the next president, make America great again, everything. I was like, this is where he got his ideas from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That happened a lot.
And they didn't show it in the movie because I think they try to keep it as like clean as possible. But in one of the interviews back then, they asked him, like, he was like, no, I would never run. And they're like, but if you did, what party would you run with? And he was like, Republican. They're the dumbest people ever. Like, literally, word by word. That interview is on YouTube. They will believe anything I say. That's exactly what he said.
I saw that. And I thought it was so funny. I did you see the thing also where his mom, like, put, like, oh, he's, like, something businessman, but God forbid he ever runs or becomes in... Do you get what I'm saying? Like, God forbid he ever tries to be president or goes to office. And I was like, even your own mother, who she is a nice woman, and mothers always support their children. Like, for your mother to say that, who birthed you, is like, come on.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up something that I read here. So, I had it at the bottom. Okay, so I just wanted to talk to you about Trump's reaction when this came out. So, where was it?
I didn't even know this movie existed because I like to be so out of touch with this man.
I love that.
I feel like it wasn't really
Advertised,
marketed
right?
a lot. Yeah.
Really? I thought it was everywhere.
Oh.
I've
Maybe
heard
I
the
lived in
name
Iraq.
before. I think.
It came out last year at the beginning, like May last year. Okay, so Trump said he has vehemently criticized the film, labeling it as cheap, defamatory, and politically disgusting hatchet job, and referring to those involved in its creation as human scum. Trump's legal team attempted to block the film's release by issuing cease and desist letters aiming to halt all marketing and distribution efforts.
Are we surprised?
When you try so hard to block something, it just means it's true. You know, so because if you're watching it and they're portraying you and that's not that person and you're not that person, you just release a statement and you're like, yeah, enjoy the movie. I just want to say this is not who I am.
Yeah. It goes back to him being emotional.
Exactly. He's being like, cease and desist, take this movie out, you know? And it's like, no, it's fucking art. And I fucking love that they showed us why you are the way that you are, sir.
And when people get that mad as well, like, they don't want the world seeing them like that, but the world already knows that you're like this. So you can't convince us otherwise. It's like if someone came out with a statement about, like, Lady Gaga and, I don't know, that was the first name in my head. But, like, or, you know, like, her and Bruno Mars song. Like, let's say, like, oh,
yes,
it's a copyright of something. Like, she knows it's not, and she would just say it. But, like, people like him, he's just, like, freaking out, like, oh, this is stupid, you know? Like, we know this is true, sir.
But then again, rule number 1, attack, attack, attack. So you're saying deny. Right, so you're saying that none of it is true. It's, libelous on my character, and they're all scum.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, Leanie, but Tracey always gives us fun facts of the, oh yay. Okay, so she's gonna give us a few fun facts. I don't know if I, like, gave one by talking about his statement when the movie came out.
No, thank you. No, I think it's good to know. I'm sure people were interested.
It up, yeah. I was like, I wanna know what he thought about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you remember that, Nikki, you might remember this a little bit more, but the movie is named after the hit reality show, The Apprentice. Leanie, do you know about it at all?
I think so.
You're fired.
Yeah, I remember watching it, actually, but it wasn't for Trump. I never
watched it, but I knew of the show.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was basically just a group of aspiring business people, and each episode it was the contestants facing some sort of challenge, and then they would have, like, a round table at the end, and then Trump would, you're fired, like, he would fire someone. And it was 2004, and then it said he was dismissed in 2015.
Wow, so it lasted long.
Yeah.
But he was fired from your fire?
That's what it seems like, which is hilarious. And he was like, well, I guess I'll run for president.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that was, like, my first thought. Like, when he ran, I was like, we have a reality TV show star.
Yeah.
Running for presidency.
Yeah. So, various dated visual textures were used to give the movie a more authentic feeling, making it look almost like a documentary. The crew used 16mm film to shoot the scenes from the 1970s and a filter mimicking the look of a VHS video for scenes from the 1980s.
That's why it looked like that.
Right, which I loved.
That's genius.
Yeah. I liked it.
I thought it was so good. I thought it was so good that when I'm watching it, I was like, no, this is real. Like, they're shooting it from that time.
Yes.
Yeah. You're like, is there something wrong with my TV? No, it was,
you traveled in time.
It felt so real. I was like, this is real. Like, this footage is so real. That's not an actor.
Documentary. Daniel M. Snyder invested in the film because he mistakenly believed it would portray Donald Trump in a positive light. However, according to director Ali Abbasi, he just wanted to make a film about Trump's rise to power based on the known facts and never set out to malign him. Despite Trump's campaign team announcing legal action against the film, Abbasi has invited Trump to watch the film and fully expects him to like it.
I love
that. Which is so
that.
optimistic.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. I always think of his reaction. It's, again, like when you react like that, you're basically, just projecting who you are. You are saying, no, this is not true, this is not true. People that are lying usually get so defensive. So defensive. And I think it just makes it more true that everything we saw in the movie was actually what happened.
Because there's like a Shakespeare quote, like, doth protest too much, where it's like,
yes.
Yeah, you're like, oh, no, it's not true. So, like, you keep saying it over and over again, and you're like, but it's true.
Yeah.
We know it's true. So,
yeah. Interesting.
So the director said that Netflix turned the film down because they have millions of MAGA subscribers in the US, which is by far their biggest market. On a business level, I totally understand that. That's what the director said. If you're in the toilet paper business, you don't want to alienate half the ass-wiping public. You want to sell toilet paper to everyone.
That was the analogy. I love that.
Yeah, I know, right? But I did not know that about Netflix.
Wow.
I swore
it's surprising.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, like, us
that these people don't watch any of that.
Yeah, like, okay, this is what I'm thinking. You MAGA lovers, like, all these people, like, such businessmen caring about the economy, like, why are you wasting your time watching Netflix? Leave it to us. True. Like, we're bored, let's watch.
I also feel like there's a lot of, like, LGBTQ shows and movies.
A lot of progressive shows and movies. I'm like, why do they have access to that?
I know. That's why I was like, really? That's interesting.
Shocked. Okay. Shocked. Like Black History Month.
Yeah. They took that off the Google Calendar, along with all the others.
Oh, my job will still celebrate it. I know my job.
Are they one of those companies that is pulling back on the DEI?
No, Google? Not at all. We have, like, transgender celebration days.
I meant Google, because if they took
Google? Probably.
Yeah. No, Equinox. Yeah. When asked whether the film was truly factual, screenwriter Gabriel Sherman, who's also a journalist, answered, "What I would say is that the film is rigorously researched. I did as much research and reporting to write this screenplay as I have done for any journalism I've done. That said, it is a work of art. It's not a documentary. It's not journalism. It's based on real events, and every major turning point in the movie is documented by real events."
Okay.
See, so it's like another thing too, where it's like, bro just took the facts.
It's not made up.
And they made it into a movie, so you can say that it didn't happen, but, like, they have receipts.
I think it's funny how he worded that, though. Like, he was like, oh, it's not a documentary, because the backlash that's gonna come. He's like, oh, it's not a documentary, but it's based on real life events. Like, with these things, I feel like he had to be careful like that, That's so funny.
The producers launched a Kickstarter campaign to get this movie released in U.S. theaters after big distributors backed off from fear of legal action from Donald Trump. According to director Ali Abbasi, the movie's release had been postponed many times. the fact that it happened a few weeks before the 2024 presidential election was pure coincidence and in no way politically motivated.
I love that.
I see. I was looking at like where to watch, and I saw that they play it in one of the movie theaters here. So I was like, that's funny.
You're in New York, baby. Yeah.
And I think they like to do that with Oscar-nominated movies. Like, they'll even bring them back and do, like, certain theaters so people can go and see them, which is great.
Yeah, I think it was at the Roxy. A really famous movie theater.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's pretty much it. I did see the quote of Trump's response, and I thought that it was funny because he does say that this movie should never see the light of day, and it doesn't even deserve a place in the straight-to-DVD section of a bargain bin at a soon-to-be-closed discount movie store.
Oh my God, when you have to say this much, it just means you hate that they're showing who you are. Oh my God.
Right.
Okay, so this movie was nominated a lot. I'm going to tell you right now. So, well, it's been available to rent. I just wanted to put that out there. It's available to rent on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Google Play. And then the critics loved it. Both actors Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong, they received nominations for the Academy Awards, and Stan was nominated Jeremy Strong was also nominated for the Golden Globes, and they also got nominations for BAFTA. The movie grossed $17.3 million worldwide, and the budget was $16 million. Which they did make money. And then it released in Cannes Film Festival in May 20th, 2024. Now, the Rotten Tomatoes score was 83%, and then the audience was 84%, which honestly, I'm very surprised but then I'm actually not, because people like us are the people that pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, it was, it's a really good score, knowing that everyone can go in there and vote, for the audience. So I give it 2 thumbs up. What about you, Leanie?
I give it 2 thumbs up.
Beautiful. What about you, Trace?
I agree. Either way, whichever way you stand with Trump, whatever, I think it's just a really good, well-made movie with excellent performances. So, 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it.
Really good production, really good cinematography. Direction beautifully done, and the actors were just like top tier.
I mean, it's a good story too. It's
Such
interesting.
a good story. Yeah. Well, Leanie Pepini, thank you for joining us today. We loved having you.
Yes.
Can you tell 2 things? You're going to tell the listeners your top 3 favorite films.
Okay.
Or like the most recent ones. And then you're going to tell them where they can find you online.
Okay.
If they want to.
Okay. I have 2. I don't know the third one. Oh,
that's
I
okay.
know.
Just give us the 2. Oh, okay.
All right. So, my favorite 2 movies and third recently favorite movie. So the first one is always Edward Scissorhands.
So good.
So good.
Classic. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that.
Johnny Depp, also my obsession. And then second favorite movie is Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. These 2 movies are basic, but always the best.
That's not basic, baby.
No.
That's good.
Yeah. Good choices.
Good taste.
Yeah.
Yes. And last one, which I saw about 2 weeks ago, that actually made me like wonder why there's hate on this movie, because it's so funny, like representing things. But the menu.
Oh, the menu is so good.
It's
I mean,
fun.
yes, and also it's. I think it doesn't have hate. I think it's. I don't know how to explain it. I think people are not ready for that type of movie yet.
Exactly. I think people just don't understand it, and I'm just like.
It's very good.
Yeah, it
so
shows
good. I liked
really the reality of that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's such a good one.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you just watched it.
I know. It's because I didn't watch it in the movies, and then I didn't, like, I forgot about it, and then I saw that Netflix added it, and I was like, okay, perfect, because I...
Click.
Like, I need more recommendations.
Well, you can always listen to the podcast. All the episodes, those are usually recommendations.
I'm gonna watch
where can
The
people
Hack.
find you?
Hacks is on HBO Max.
Okay.
Yes.
I have that.
Yes.
Okay. People can find me on Instagram, Leen, LEENK6. And then you can find me on TikTok. I just started posting like everyday life, but
yes,
it's at Leen, LEENINACUP. So Lean in a Cup. I made it many years ago, 2016.
I remember.
Yes.
Love it.
But also, Leanie is looking for a job, guys. So
Please
look her up.
Just you know what to do. Have your people reach out to her people, and we'll get her working.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Leanie, for joining us today, and thank you guys so much for listening. Stay strong out there.
I will.
rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your family. Leanie, tell all your friends to come through. And that's it for today.
Yeah,
That's it.
thank you.
Till next time. Thanks, Leen.
Till next time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.